Hey everybody, this is Kevin with Garrison Dental Solutions, and we have the distinct privilege to have Dr. J.D. Corey. J.D. has been involved in the Loop project pretty much from the beginning, testing early prototypes, in here talking about concepts and just every aspect of this device. So he's had quite a bit of experience with it. We wanted to just capture a few of his thoughts about it.
So first impressions was, I like the way it looks. I think that that's one of the things that I'm first evaluating, even though I don't think it's the most important thing. And then really just cycling through the settings, see what options were available, what makes this different than other lights that are out there. And I guess a couple of the very first things that stood out to me was the charging base, and it looked different. It had this thing that extended on it, and I was thinking, what is this for? And I don't know if this is standard for other products, but it had a link to like video-based instructions. When I started trying to learn more about how to use it, it was pretty easy to pick up on pretty quickly. Yeah, I typically left it in its default setting. I think the more important thing is to know what setting it's on, so you know how long you need to be curing for. But we didn't mess around too much with changing settings based on different applications. It was just a matter of knowing how long to cure for so that everything was getting done appropriately. I love the fact that if I wanted to know what setting, you could look on the screen and you could see it pretty easily. So very beneficial, easy to see and check what settings you're on. And I'm more of a set it and forget it kind of person, especially because usually I'm not the one handling the curing light. So to make it easier on the assistants to, you accidentally hit a button, settings get changed. Do you even know that the settings are changed? That always concerns me. And to make it easy to just verify that everything is where it should be, the display made it super easy to do that. We used it in the closed loop mode. Yeah, that was what we just had it set on.
Sure.
Yep. Sure. Yeah, and I don't want to throw any of my assistants under the bus, but it's a true story, and so I'll share it with you. It wasn't too long after we first got the light, and like I had mentioned, my assistants do the curing. I don't handle the curing light for the most part unless it's an access issue, but my assistants do the curing. And we had a procedure where she was attempting to cure a filling, and it was a larger filling, and she was getting very frustrated visibly because the curing light would not turn on, because we had it in the closed loop mode where it was reading whether or not it was detecting the composite and how far you are from the composite. It wouldn't turn on, and it turns out she didn't have it was off angle. So I just gently bumped it over a tiny bit and it turned on just fine. I think those are the situations that this light really separates itself, where you might think that you have it the right distance from the tooth, or you might think that it's pointed in the right direction. But if you're just slightly off and you're running that curing light, you might not even know that you didn't cure your filling material appropriately. Whereas this light is going to make sure that if you're curing, you're not only providing enough energy to that material that you're trying to cure, regardless of how far away you are, but you're also directed over the material. Sometimes your hand starts drifting away as you're curing, and it's just, there's no great way, or there hasn't been a great way to have peace of mind to know that you're actually curing appropriately. With this light, that's the biggest advantage in my opinion, is that you do have the peace of mind knowing that the light's going to compensate for you and help you detect if you're not in the right position.
So it's almost like a training tool.
I do think every dental school should have this. Absolutely. I think that that's the first thing I said when I met with Garrison after I'd been testing it. It was, this thing needs to be in every single school in the country, because a benefit of using it is it forces you to focus on where you have that light. It does not let you get lazy and not have the light in the right position. You either have the light in the right spot and it's going to cure your material appropriately, or you don't and it will not turn on. And I think that's extremely beneficial, especially if you're just learning where to place the curing light and how to angle it. It's just going to help make sure that you are doing everything correctly, or your assistant's doing everything correctly. And like I said, one less thing to worry about. We got enough going on during the course of composite restoration that it's just one less thing we have to worry about. It's easy to get frustrated if you're having some issues with the light coming on, but that probably means the light's not in the correct position. In my experience, if you can make sure that light is centered over your composite material, it's going to turn on every single time. And I can't overemphasize enough how beneficial that is. So it just, I think, does a really good job of that. The other thing, I think, mentioning the charging base is convenient, but it will check your calibration for you and make sure that your lens is actually clear and doesn't have any smudges or anything like that. I think that's really beneficial. So it's not so much.
Oh, they just did it.
Yep. Are we good? We're good. We got the check mark. It's not so much a tip, but I think it's helpful to have that integrated into the system so that you're making sure. That's another thing that you don't have to necessarily worry about. You know, how often are you calibrating your lights, or is it functioning properly? You're going to have that peace of mind as well by having that just built into the charging base.
Fantastic. Well, thanks, JD. Appreciate it.